Hello friends, and not yet friends. Welcome back to Mary's Test Kitchen, where you can make these fluffy, buttery, vegan cheese biscuits in just about 30 minutes. Super easy, and they come out with this incredible, delicious, toasty flavor thanks to oats. And an extra cheesy zing thanks to a secret ingredient that I shared in the last cheesy tutorial. Those who know, know. Those who don't, well, let's just get started by preheating your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And to a large mixing bowl, add 150 grams or 1 1/4 cups of oat flour. If you're making truly gluten-free biscuits, make sure to get the certified gluten-free oat flour to avoid wheat contamination. Although it can be harder to find the oat flour than rolled oats, so you might find the GF certified oats and blitz them in a food processor or blender to make this flour. Then 2 teaspoons of sugar. Yes, it is a savory biscuit, but the sweetness helps to balance and enhance the cheesy flavor. For fluffiness, add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, plus 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Next, I like to add fresh garlic, but you can certainly use garlic powder, which is a bit more subtle, and you can just add like a 1/2 teaspoon, but I'm going to use a generous full teaspoon of this crushed garlic, which will make these biscuits super fragrant. Don't forget the salt, 1/4 teaspoon, and I also like to add a little bit of cayenne, 1/8 teaspoon, and mix. For my next trick, we'll need a bit of frozen vegan butter, which I always keep a stick of in the freezer just for convenience, and grate a tablespoon, which is 15 grams, directly into the bowl. Whisk that up, and for now, just stick this bowl in the freezer to chill while we season up some vegan cheddar style shreds. I'm using 3/4 cup, which is 90 grams. To bump up the flavor, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of nutritional yeast and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then my special ingredient for added tanginess without moisture, green mango powder. You might know this from my last cheesy video or from Indian cuisine. It takes the flavor from like a mild cheddar to a sharper one, which I prefer for this recipe. The only downside is it adds a bit of a darker color, which is not a problem in the biscuit part, but there is a bit of an issue in, well, you'll see. I'll tell you later. For now, we'll take 1/4 cup of this mixture and set it aside in a microwave-safe bowl. And preemptively add 1 tablespoon of plain plant-based milk. You can guess what we'll do with that. The bulk of the seasoned cheese goes back into the main mixing bowl, now a little chilled by a few minutes in the freezer. Whisk the cheese in so it's quite evenly distributed. Then make a well. To that, we'll add 175 milliliters or 3/4 cup of plain plant-based milk and 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. Stir that middle and you can see it becoming thick right away. Then we'll use a spatula to mix the wet and dry together. Make sure to get in under there so there's no dry bits remaining. Here, I'm pretty much done with mixing, but I'm just trying to show you the consistency you should have. Now we're nearly ready to get biscuits on a pan, but before we do, let's take the remaining cheese shreds from earlier and microwave using 15-second intervals until they are melted, and just by stirring, we make a nice smooth sauce. Now you can see the issue with the green mango powder though. It's not as bright and pretty orange as before, but still, it tastes good. So I'd say if you're multiplying the recipe for like a bake sale, I would skip the mango powder just for the cheese sauce, but keep it in the biscuit itself, if that makes sense. But like, I'm gonna keep it in for the biscuits that I'm gonna eat because it just tastes better. Enough chatter. Let's get this batter on the pan. And drizzle the cheese sauce on top. Now we bake in that preheated oven for 20 to 25 minutes, or until they look like this. Just beautifully toasty smelling and crispy around the edges. You might want to wait a few minutes before you break into that fluffy, steaming, cheesy interior, but I don't ever have the patience. Eat them as a snack just like this, or Maybe turn them into a breakfast sandwich like I had this morning. What else would you do with your vegan cheese oat biscuits? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and feel free to leave a recipe request with the hashtag #RecipeRequest in the comments as well. Bye for now.